Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Umbrellas, fog lights, patience. Those are just some of the things you're going to need tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we want you to be prepared for that morning commute, which is supposed to be a mess. Here's meteorologist Adam Caskey.
Yeah, another damp and soggy morning commute, reduced visibility from fog, drizzle, and even some pockets of heavy rain. Speaking of heavy rain, we have some already ongoing in parts of our area. Most of the rain in San Antonio is downtown and north and westward. I want to look at some of the heavier downpours right now. One crossing over 181, Floresville just nicking Poth as well. This is headed to the northeast, and it's going to make it to Stockdale. These are moving pretty quickly, which limits their potential for overall accumulations, but you'll still see over an inch in some neighborhoods. Stockdale, this downpour is going to make it to you at 10:14 p.m. Again, these are moving pretty quickly. In San Antonio, basically I-35 is the rough dividing line. Along and west of I-35, we have the rain. East of I-35, fairly dry, and one moderate shower right here, just on the west side of downtown as you get toward Memorial High School, West Martin Street, and south of Jefferson High School. Some heavy rain. Now, these pockets of heavy rain will continue to move overhead through the rest of the night and even off and on during the day tomorrow. We'll have a look at where all the rain is coming from farther to the west, how much more we could see, and when the sun returns in just a bit.
All right, Adam, thank you. And while we watch that situation right now, one San Antonio family is still rattled tonight because early yesterday, they had to be rescued from rising waters along State Highway 151.
Yeah, they have quite a story to tell. By the way, San Antonio police said they responded to at least 7 calls along 151 between Sunday night and Monday morning. And as the family tells the night team's John Paul Barajas, that water caught them off guard.
There's our car.
Now the difference is night and day, but early Monday morning, drivers struggle to see this stretch of the 151 frontage road near Wiseman Boulevard.
How dark it is, like you could not see. There's no way you'd have seen that water. So I went from just where it was just water on the road to immediately it was up at the hood and there's water splashing. My car was already like going into it.
Dee Heigl says she was on the road around 1 in the morning on Monday because her daughter Riley had a high fever. Dee was trying to take Riley to the Christus Children's Emergency Center just up the hill from the frontage road.
And I hear the like swooshing and I look down, I have my light on my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's water coming in.
Water got up to the seats, but firefighters came to the rescue and were able to carry Dee, Riley, and Riley's sister Nayeli away from the water.
They said, I'm sorry it's cold, but I said it's not cold, I'm just scared.
No, she was shaking.
More than 24 hours later, the family's safe. Riley's feeling better, and they're able to laugh about the experience.
That was like the first thing I came out. She's like, I can't swim, Mom. I was like, you're fine.
I could swim if it's up to the tires, but if it's up to the doors, I cannot.
But Dee's Christmas gift, a 2024 Subaru Ascent, is now totaled. Tough loss after a situation she wishes she could have avoided.
I'm upset about it because I'm like, why is it so dark out there?
As you look down this stretch of the 151 frontage road, there's not a street light in sight, leaving this area in front of Christus Santa Rosa pitch black. And you can also see that there are street lights in the process of going up. Unfortunately for Heigl and others, it wasn't soon enough.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Switching gears now, we're learning much more about the Illinois murderer who made it to Natalia, Texas yesterday, just outside of San Antonio. That's where he took his own life.
It's a story we broke last night on the Nightbeat. Illinois law enforcement confirming today this man, 23-year-old Romeo Nance, went on a shooting spree Sunday, killing 8 and injuring 1 in Joliet, Chicago. Or Joliet, near Chicago, I should say. Police said Nance is related to 7 of those people.
So at this point, investigators say that Nance didn't have any connections in Texas. They're saying that he was heading south, stealing license plates from Texas along the way to try and throw off law enforcement. But that ended last night when U.S. Marshals found him at a gas station in Natalia.
Task force officers with the United States Marshals Service observed Mr. Nance armed with a firearm fleeing from the vehicle. It's at that time they gave chase to him. He rounded the corner around the gas station and decided to take his life.
So now the Texas Rangers are taking the lead on the investigation. They're trying to figure out 2 things. 1, a motive, and 2, exactly where Nance was heading.
New on the Nightbeat tonight, 12 people are off the streets tonight after an SAPD undercover operation. Police say that 12 men tried to meet up with minors, those 12 men, for sexual conduct. SAPD says that undercover officers found the suspects engaging with the children online. Police also say that the operation led to 15 additional suspects, but they're still waiting on warrants to arrest them.
Fair treatment for former San Antonio police officers. That's what the San Antonio Police Officers Association's president asking for from the Bexar County District Attorney's Office. It comes after a string of mistrials for several former SAPD officers. SAPOA President Danny Diaz joined us today for our KSAT Q&A segment on the news at 6. We spoke with him more about why he is calling out the DA's office.
All we're asking for is due process. Evidence should be turned in at discovery at the very beginning. The officers have the right to due process and a fair trial just like any other citizen does. And quite frankly, that's all we're asking for. If they're hiding evidence, then the question for me is, should they have been charged to begin with?
This was just a portion of our conversation with SAPOA President Danny Diaz. We also asked him if officers felt safer now than they did in August when at least 5 of them were shot. His answer was no. You can watch the full interview right now on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, and the KSAT YouTube page. By the way, we also want to let you know District Attorney Joe Gonzalez has accepted our invitation to join us on our KSAT Q&A segment next week to discuss some of the things that Danny Diaz brought up, but also some of the things he wants to talk about.
Now let's talk about tomorrow. City Council is going to meet to discuss something that we're all worried about, and that is violence. Leaders want to stop violence in our city before it happens. Several groups in the city partnered with Metro Health to develop something called the Violence Prevention Strategic Plan to tackle issues that may lead to crime. So they've decided to establish more access to mental health care and also eliminating food insecurity. It's all linked to Metro Health's 5-year SA Forward plan that launched back in 2022.
A rematch between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump looking more and more likely tonight. Trump winning the New Hampshire primary this evening. It's a victory that signifies Trump's hold on the Republican Party, despite the multiple criminal cases he still faces. The results disappointing for former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, the last major challenger in the race for the GOP nomination. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden taking the New Hampshire Democratic primary. That result came amid a ballot that listed 21 candidates. He was not among them. All his votes were write-ins tonight, an outcome that could offer reassurance to Democrats who feared Biden's campaign was not resonating with voters. By the way, a reminder, KSAT is your election headquarters. We've got everything that you need right now online, local, state, national elections. You can visit the Vote 2024 tab on KSAT.com. There you'll find a complete breakdown.
Now, one of the big issues playing out in this election is the border, and tonight there is no timetable for the removal of razor wire along our southern border with Mexico. Now, despite yesterday's Supreme Court ruling, the U.S. Border Patrol is still reviewing it before it starts to remove that razor wire along the Rio Grande near Eagle Pass. That 5-4 Supreme Court ruling yesterday is a victory for the Biden administration in its ongoing dispute with Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star program. The vote yesterday is only a temporary injunction, however. Next month, this case is going to go before the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. So coronavirus cases are officially trending upwards here in Bexar County. The county reporting a little over 1,300 new cases. This marks 3 consecutive weeks that cases have topped 1,000. However, there is good news in all this, and that is that there are no new COVID deaths.
January National Blood Donor Month, and there's a great need for blood here in Bexar County. Our crew spoke with an expert from University Health.
In the winter months, it's always hard because schools tend to be out, holidays are coming, people are sick, and so there's just a decrease in donors naturally. And then our blood supply and our donors that regularly come out are decreasing nationwide anyways.
So here is your chance to provide life-saving help for someone in need. Our KSAT community partners helping people schedule donations. If you want to donate for the first time, or if you're a pro, if you're a veteran, just visit donatebloodtoday.com to schedule your donation.
3,100. That's how many people were considered homeless last year in Bexar County. And that's why there's a national effort underway right now to figure out what we need so that those people finally get permanent homes. And we're going to tell you all about it after the break. Now we want to take you to breaking news. It's happening right now. There have been reports of a police shooting.
Yeah, police at least involved in this shooting. John Paul Barajas is there now on South Flores, not far from Harlandale High School, as you said, not far from South Cross. John Paul, what have you learned?
Right now, we are still waiting for information. We were told that Police Chief William McManus is going to be here on scene at about 10:45 to brief us on, as you mentioned, a shooting that involves officers. To what extent that is, we are still waiting to find out. We've tried to get some information from officers on scene, but as we always do, and they know that they can't speak to us, it's got to be a sergeant or the police chief. And when it's an officer-involved shooting, it usually is the police chief that gives us information. Now, out here at scene, it's a very large scene. I've counted at least 10 different police units. It's hard to see because it's dark and all the smoke from the flares they've set up here. A portion of South Flores, just past East South Cross, is blocked off. Gavin, I don't know if you can zoom in just how far down and go several blocks headed towards Southwest Military. How far it stretches exactly, we're not sure. Officers right up here told me they believe maybe it was about a mile-long stretch, but he wasn't too certain as well. Again, we have no other information besides what San Antonio Police has tweeted, saying that Police Chief William McManus will be here hopefully by 10:45 to give us some information on what happened. We talked to a couple people and they haven't heard anything, or I should say they didn't see anything, but they did say they heard gunshots. That's all they could tell us. Again, this is a very fluid situation and we'll stay on top of it and bring you the latest.
John
Steve,
Paul, obviously, stay with me for a second, John Paul, because I know we don't have any confirmation of exactly what happened, but when we say police involved in the shooting, we believe that they were the ones doing the shooting, correct? We don't believe that an officer was actually shot during this altercation, correct?
Correct. What we believe right now is that officers are okay. This is preliminary information that we're just trying to gather out here. We aren't certain. We're still waiting for the police chief, but we do believe the officers were the ones firing their weapons at a suspect believed to be in this case. As for what reason, we're waiting to find out.
Exactly what I thought. All right, John Paul Barajas, live on South Flores. Give us an update if you get one. I appreciate it. Thank you, John Paul. Of course, we'll continue to follow it on KSAT.com and GMSA. Right now, volunteers wrapping up efforts to count those living without shelter in Bexar County, the annual point-in-time count, part of a national push to get a sense of the homeless problem in our community. The Night Team's Patty Santos explains why tonight's efforts can make a big difference.
We're about to walk up to an encampment. The rule is we're walking into their home. That's their personal.
Dominic Yanis reminds his team how to compassionately and gracefully approach the people living under this 410 bridge.
Water bottles, socks, a beanie. There's snacks in there. There's hygiene items.
Armed with a bag full of supplies, they hope to get their okay to ask the group a few questions.
We're getting a count for how many people are living out in the streets.
It's to get a sense of what's hindering some of them from finding a permanent home. The 4 volunteers are part of more than 400 people hitting the streets for the annual point-in-time count.
This is the census for homelessness, but is also the single most important outreach event of the year. For a lot of people, this is first contact. This is when we reach people for the first time who are otherwise lonely, alone, who don't think there's any help for them.
For Yanis, it's personal. 8 years ago, he lived in these streets too.
When I was homeless, there were people who did that for me. And just when you think you're by yourself, you go and see there's a whole world of people who want to give you the best that they can.
In 2023, more than 3,100 people were counted as homeless in Bexar County. The count is done every January with the thought that the cold weather brings many people to shelters, making them easier to account for.
How many did you count here?
Here, so there's the guy in the corner, 4, and we saw a 5th person over there. So just at this intersection, there are 5 people who are unsheltered tonight.
Numbers will be used to help nonprofits apply for grants and make decisions on the type of resources that communities need.
We're done with here.
Patty Santos.
We're going to go to a second location and keep counting tonight.
KSAT 12 News.
I love that now he's giving back. It's a great story. Right now, 10:17. All right, you see the wet roads out there right now, 61 degrees. When I look at the rain, I get excited when I think about the aquifer.
Oh, it's already up nearly 5 feet from when the rain began on Sunday. Isn't that great? And it's going to continue to rise, and it's going to be good. We'll give you an updated look at the aquifer tomorrow and where some of the heaviest rain fell. But I want to focus right now on authority radar, especially to the west of San Antonio, because there's this conveyor belt, basically a parade of storms, non-severe storms, downpours, a little bit of lightning and thunder coming in from the Rio Grande and Mexico, moving to the northeast right into San Antonio. And what this is going to do, it's going to set up a defined line of very heavy rainfall, basically near and I think especially just west of I-35 over the next couple of hours. Let's get to our local radar site closer to San Antonio. And the heaviest rain this afternoon and even right now is still east of town. Gonzales County down into Wilson and Karnes counties. This is the heaviest rain. Gonzales, you've had it coming and going. Rain gauge amounts already around 3 inches in most of Gonzales County. We're just going to keep adding to it. So be prepared for flash flooding in the typically flood prone spots of Gonzales County tonight and even first thing tomorrow morning. Luling about to see a heavy downpour there as well. I want to get into San Antonio. Downtown and on the south side, east side, nothing right now. It's just light to moderate rain. You get around Castle Hills, McAllister Park, up into Hollywood Park, Chavano Park as well. This is all light to moderate, but I anticipate it to pick up in intensity over the coming hours. For example, this downpour right here near Devine, just west of Devine, it's moving pretty quickly, so it may be far away right now, but this is going to hit Helotes by 10:57 p.m. Alamo Ranch, you'll have it a few minutes sooner. So these downpours with lightning and thunder will be moving in off and on throughout the night tonight. Quick look at rainfall totals just over the past 24 hours, and you'll see the sweet spot has been east of town, this yellow swath, Gonzales County down into western Karnes County. I anticipate another yellow swath just like that to set up here in the west side, northwest side, and far north side of San Antonio, and some of that could even move eastward. Okay, a quick look at our future cast here, and don't pay close attention to the exact placement of the downpours and non-severe storms tonight and into tomorrow. Just the mere fact that it's on board with the activity coming and going, intermittent nature, through the night and off and on through the day tomorrow. It's not going to be a continuous rain, but we will see more showers. And I do think overall accumulations through Thursday morning, the last of the showers Thursday morning, isolated stragglers then, easily another inch or more in some neighborhoods. It all depends on where the heaviest downpours set up. Yeah, this says Helotes 0.6. I think it's going to be higher than that. Again, it comes down to where those downpours set up. 70% chance through tomorrow. Thursday morning, down to 20%. Friday, cold front moves in, 20% chance then. Quick look at our setup. Strong jet stream up above us. There's that steering flow. It's whizzing those storms along. They're zipping along. And within that jet stream flow, we've got these embedded impulses of energy, one of which is moving in right now. And we'll continue to see a few more of those as we get through tomorrow. And then sunshine returns by Thursday. Temperature's not changing much. 57 in the morning, 60 tomorrow afternoon, some lower 60s south of town. And looking ahead, we'll be 70 and sunny by Thursday afternoon, Friday near 70, but windy on Saturday. Cool mornings near 40 this weekend, but afternoons in the mid 60s. Hey, coming up tomorrow, we'll look at the drought monitor and how much rain we picked up in those drought-stricken areas.
Okay, thank you.
All right, a big night for high school hoops, and a local hoopster gets a Happy Meal.
Yes, that's a great little foundation to what we'll be talking about tonight. Lots of great hoops action and news. We'll bring you a couple of matchups tonight involving one of the top teams in the state in Veterans Memorial. Plus, the latest on Trey Jones and his injury status as he suffered a left ankle sprain. Will he play tomorrow? We'll find out coming up. The top team in Class 5A, the Veterans Memorial boys basketball team, looking to up their terrific 28-1 record on the road this evening as they pay a visit to Piper. Should be a good one. Let's get to it. First play of the game. Let Gervais Mayweather shoot his shot. Mayweather's rattles in the triple from the top of the key. Great start for the Patriots. Then resilience on the boards leads to a good bucket for Tucker Vogt, who gets the putback to go. But hey, we all know defense wins you games. Devin McLeod picks up the loose ball and Demarion Dennis trails for the monster putback slam as Veterans Memorial finishes on top 47-32. To Harlan High School now, where the O'Connor girls basketball team takes on the Taft Raiders. O'Connor's Casey Chavez side step pull up drains the three-pointer. She is so smooth with it. All right, other end, Raiders' Alexis Castillo gets open in the lane for the easy deuce. But Chavez has too many moves, great handles, and she sinks another incredible shot as O'Connor wins it 46-37. On the topic of girls basketball, today's 6'4" star forward out of Clark High School, Ariana Roberson, was selected as a 2024 McDonald's All-American. Roberson is on the West roster, who will tip off against the East team in Houston at the Toyota Center April 2nd. Right now, the Duke signee is averaging a double-double, 17 points and 12 rebounds for the Cougars, who are in the midst of an outstanding 24-2 season.
Our first electee was a superstar at the plate and in the field, playing 21 seasons for the Dodgers, Mariners, Red Sox, and Rangers. Today, Adrian Beltre becomes a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Adrian Beltre, a 4-time All-Star and 5-time Gold Glove third baseman, is officially a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Beltre is 11th all-time in doubles and has the most hits by a third baseman ever with 3,166. Beltre, along with twins Joe Mauer and Rockies Todd Helton, will be inducted at Cooperstown on July 21st, along with manager Jim Leyland. While San Antonio Spurs fans anxiously await rookie Victor Wembanyama's minutes restriction to be no more, another potential roadblock for the Spurs has emerged. San Antonio's most experienced point guard Trey Jones is questionable for tomorrow's matchup against OKC, who is the second best team in the Western Conference. Jones sustained a left ankle sprain in the fourth quarter of yesterday's loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. And although Jones came off the bench for most of the season before once again becoming a starter, head coach Greg Popovich says Jones' role on the team cannot be understated.
I hope not, because he's very, very important to us, more than most people would expect. But, you know, he's the heart and soul out there as far as keeping us together and showing the grit, you know, night after night after night. So hopefully he's not hurt for us. You know, that would be tough.
We all see it all right. The Spurs and OKC tip off tomorrow night. After the break, we'll hear from the Valero Texas Open defending champion. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Valero Texas Open will be played in San Antonio from April 1st to the 7th. But today a press conference was held to welcome back defending champion Corey Connors, as well as reveal some of the high-profile names that will be trying to make sure Connors doesn't repeat as champion for the third time. Names like Rory McIlroy, Max Homa, and Colin Morikawa, just a few names that'll be featured. Connors shared what it's like to see top talent like that so eager to play in the Texas Open.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I think, you know, this is a great event that, you know, just shows you know what the players think of it. The staff and, you know, Larson, Valero are great supporters of the tour, and they do a really amazing job with this tournament. A lot of the players speak so highly of this event. Not surprising that some of the big stars want to come and play, and I know I'm looking forward to, you know, trying to take them down.
You can already feel the competitiveness. The Valero Texas Open is going to be here before you know it. It's only 72 days away. Can't wait for spring.
Corey needs another pair of boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Give him the boots. Thank you. We'll be right back.
We're back out here off South Flores, just past East South Cross. We're waiting to learn more information on what San Antonio police are calling a shooting involving officers. That's all the official information we have at this time. We've been out here since about 10 o'clock, the start of the newscast, and have not learned any official information besides what I just told you. Obviously, a giant police scene, and last time, the start of the show, I counted about 10 officers' units. I've seen several more arrive since then. Also a lot of unmarked units. Now we have spoken to a few people who live nearby. One person said that he heard about 7 gunshots. Another person said that they had been walking by and saw that there was a body covered by a tarp. But again, this is just from people who live in the area walking by. We're still waiting to hear from Police Chief William McManus. He's supposed to brief us at 10:45, and you can catch that on KSAT.com since this is wrapping up the newscast. Steve, Stephania.